Thursday, December 17th. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk about Mamoru Oshii's The Sky Crawlers.
Let's do this.
I have bruises in places that I wish I didn't have bruises.
Actually, I have a bruise on my leg. Like last night, I was laying in bed and sort of randomly, my calf just cramped. And it stayed cramped. And it was so cramped, I put my hand near it to feel, and the shape of my leg had changed and would not change back. And today it's whenever I flex that muscle over there, there's obviously some sort of bruising internally. So
well, actually, that's very common. It's caused by a sedentary lifestyle.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't know. Go to a doctor. That came out of nowhere.
Or just wait and it'll go away.
I was talking about how I went skiing yesterday. Well, yes, yesterday.
Today.
Well, yesterday, because the show doesn't come out until today.
Yes. Wait, today is Tuesday. You went skiing on Tuesday.
Yes. However, for the listener, to steal
who's
that,
probably listening Tuesday night, it's Geeknights.
But this isn't going to be uploaded until Wednesday night. Because it's a Wednesday show.
Oh, fuck.
Yes.
Oh.
You see what I was going to do? I was going to
I forgot it was a Wednesday show.
Hey, so yesterday I went skiing. so much for that.
No, I forgot it was a Wednesday show.
So on Tuesday.
I was getting ready for Tuesday show.
So on Tuesday, whichever day that may be, yesterday.
Hey, so today we did Secret Santa at work. I don't know. I don't know what I got.
I went skiing.
Yeah.
And I learned something. I learned something really important. I learned that if the website for a ski resort says frozen granular surface conditions, that's a code, actually. And the code means Rim's going to bust his ass.
Well, if it's frozen, that means it's going to be hard, which means if you fall down, you're going to hurt yourself.
Well, basically, frozen granular consists of ice, snow that became ice that has now broken up. So you're skiing on chunky, hard pieces of broken snow. It's awesome.
So it's sort of when the snow freezes and, you step on it and you sort of make these holes in it. And then, but people just step on all the snow and then it gets all crunched up.
It's kind of like skiing on pebbles, like a sea of pebbles, but pebbles made of ice. Yeah. So I would try to do things that I was able to do proficiently last year and not succeed in my endeavors.
Damn those weather required weather affected sporting events, whatever. I mean, ice hockey sort of needs some weather unless you have an indoor ice hockey. But even then, it's as long as it's less than 32 degrees and you got a Zamboni, it's all good.
Yep, but snow, it depends on the previous several days' weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in a little bit of pain yesterday.
All right.
That's all I got. I skipped work, I went skiing, and that's it.
All right.
Now
I only have to work this week, and I guess this is the last episode I have to do this week.
Yeah.
Well, and then next week, no more work until
I'm
next
working
year.
Up until Christmas Eve.
Oh,
and then
no.
I'm not going back to work till the 2nd.
I'm not going back to work until the 5th.
I'm going for a half day on the 2nd. I'm going to pop in on the 2nd and do work.
But 2 train rides is a lot of time.
No, because you realize the whole crew is going to go into the city and do stuff that day.
Oh, is that what you want to do?
Well, that's what they all want to do.
We'll see what happens.
That's what's going to happen. And then I rented, I didn't rent it yet, but I'm going to rent one of the giant rooms in one of the good karaoke places. And we're all going to go do karaoke.
I'm not going to do karaoke.
So you can stay home with all the other lame people, and the rest of us will go do karaoke.
You can do all the karaoke you want.
Oh, we will.
All right.
Oh, yes, we will. This time
I'll not waste my money and time on such a stupid thing.
I definitely have to print out Romanized lyrics to Japanese songs because my knowledge of katakana does not even consist of all of katakana or hiragana, let alone kanji, so I can't sing along to Japanese.
I know 3 letters of one of the anas.
I can sing a couple of songs. Like the KO Century Beast opener, I know it by now.
It's in English?
Rock and Roll Bomber.
Yeah.
Well, it's not all in English.
It's enough in English.
Koi no Misairu 3210.
Yeah, the only word in there is
bomber.
Koi no is the only Japanese word. And no is a really easy word.
Rock and roll bomber. Plus, half the songs in Japanese. What's wrong with you?
Anyway,
Only the rock and roll bomber part is in English.
which is the majority of the song. And like you said, Koi no Misailu, it's that's no missile is
well, no,
English.
it's missile of love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Missile, that's an English word.
Yes.
So there are many English parts in that song.
Not so many.
And also there are many characters in the show who speak the English.
Oh, Budmint, I love you.
All the bird people. They all speak English.
Yeah, so you got to the part with Colonel Sanders. I'd forgotten about him.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
A, B, C, D, F, G, H,
Yeah,
I,
that
J,
guy.
K. But enough of that. We're not reviewing KO Century Beast yet.
Oh, we're not?
Soon.
I watched, I think, 4 episodes now. There's only 3 left.
That's a show that really, I see it from this whole different perspective now than what I did when I first watched it. Of course, I think part of it's that when I first watched it, it was like 3 a.m.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I've seen the show mostly the same as before. It's actually more of a robot show than I remember.
Yeah, well, I get more of it now. Like, I get things they're referencing that I had no idea
Yeah,
before.
but I don't see that many references. It seems mostly, I don't know.
There's a few that really stand out that I wouldn't have noticed. Like the whole thing with Mahjong.
Yeah, the Mahjong
I didn't
thing.
know about Mahjong anime back then.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
All right, anyway.
Definitely one of the better scenes. All right.
It's anime manga comics night. So, is there any anime manga comics news other than the fact that continuously the anime industry in America is in its death spiral?
It's not news. It's not news. So what's there to say? Usually the news I hate the most, right, is all that, oh my God, movie 5 years from now news, right? Because it's all bullshit. You never know until the movie's actually in the theater.
That's right. I got to check and see if there's any updates on the Temeraire movie.
Yeah, like 100 years from now, because, there have been in the past, there have been movies that were made, like fully made, the movie is done, edited, the whole thing, that never saw the light of day. There multiple times this has happened. So I usually don't trust any movie news at all.
Oh, there's a minor update.
All right.
Peter Jackson said of Temeraire, and I quote, blah, 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 I particularly love fantasy and historical epic. I can't wait to see Napoleonic battles fought with a squadron of dragons. That is what I go to the movies for.
So someone says something.
Well, no,
that
part of it was, I want to make that movie. Oh my God. And he optioned the rights, but...
Yeah, but
option
wait, meaning not set in stone.
But what needs to be pointed out that is a sentiment that Scott Johnson can also be behind. That is what he goes to the movies for.
It is indeed. But anyway, I'm not talking about that movie. Who gives a shit about that? I'm talking about this movie news, which even though this is a movie that is going to come out in 2010, right? It's set in stone enough where I would bet money that, everything that is here is going to come to be. It is a certain thing. Basically, I'm not really excited about any movies that come out these days, really, at all, so much. Except I think this might be like the first one. And the worst part about it is I really don't like a lot of underwear pervert movies, especially the recent ones.
Well, I gotta say, the recent Batman movies did not do it for me.
No, everyone likes those. I don't like those. I like the 1989 Batman. I guess I like that first Spider-Man one. I didn't see the other ones. I didn't like any of the X-Men movies.
My problem with the Batman movies in particular is that everyone in them is awesome except Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Batman is such a static character in these, and so just like, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Look at The Dark Knight Returns. The reason it's good is that Batman changes. Everything changes. People die. People change. The Joker was someone else actually pointed this out to me, and I didn't notice it, but the Joker doesn't change. Batman does. No one changes in the new movies at all. And also, microwaves don't work that way.
Yeah, that really bothered me.
That bothered me enough that I stopped watching it.
But in 2008, right, we saw the Iron Man movie. I didn't see it, actually.
I didn't see it either.
I don't really know if I want to see it, but that doesn't matter. In 2009, there's going to be the Captain America movie, right? Now, if you know about underwear perverts, or at least Marvel underwear perverts, you know where this is going, right? It's the Avengers, and the Avengers, has many characters in it that change over time, but the 3 characters that are the Avengers in Marvel are Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. Now,
Are they making a Thor movie?
now I would not care about, a Thor
Oh, no.
movie.
All right, here's what I want. I've suddenly decided I want a movie that is just the Norse gods doing their thing.
Well, if you ever read actual, Thor comics, like from Marvel, a lot of them are just that. It's mostly like when you see Thor in Avengers is when you get a lot of underwear pervert action.
Yes, but I want that in movie form.
Well, you may or may not get that movie, Thor. Have you heard like this? I think I've talked about this once before. You don't remember?
No.
No? Oh. Well then. Basically, let me read to you the quotes from the director before I tell you who this director is. All right? I'm directing Thor, or the Mighty Thor, as you might like to call it. I think it will be Thor. There has been lots of talk. I sound like a politician, but we are too early at this stage. We're getting the story and the visual effects together, and all that is very exciting. Someone sensational is going to play the part, but it is early days.
Is it Takashi Miike?
No. Something about they're going to concentrate a lot on, because Thor in Marvel Comics is like a normal dude, and he gets the hammer, and then he turns into Thor, and then he turns into a normal dude. And they're going to, concentrate on some of the human story there. And then in 2011, the year after the Thor movie, there's going to be Avengers movie, which is Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, right?
Uh-huh.
No, but, this is rumor-ish before, but now it's going to be, as long as Marvel doesn't fold or anything, by 2011, all these 4 movies will exist. No, but the director of Thor is Kenneth Branagh.
What?
I told you.
I almost had a nerdgasm right there because
Maybe.
the only thing that can make that better is if somehow Patrick Stewart had a role in it. Kenneth Branagh.
He has broken his silence about directing a film version because he broke the silence. So it was like whisper, whisper, but now it's like, all right, yeah, I am directing Thor.
I think
or the Mighty Thor, as you might like to call it.
You probably did tell me this, but I probably just assumed it wasn't true and thus forgot it.
Well, now it is the true.
All right, it is Wednesday.
And it's like normally, when you have a movie news that's so far out, you go, right? But no, that the superhero movies are pretty much set in stone. They're going to keep making these things because they keep raking in the money, and these are the ones they're going to do. And that's that.
I should say, because it is a Wednesday night, it's Tuesday technically, since Scott broke the illusion. But, if you don't know who Kenneth Branagh is and why I went, his Hamlet is the second best Hamlet ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4 hours long. It has Billy Crystal in it, and Robin Williams, and Jack Lemmon, and everyone else famous. It is a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
I say second best because Patrick Stewart's Hamlet is apparently also awesome.
Oh, wait, actually, I got the years wrong. Thor is going to open in theaters July 16, 2010. Iron Man 2 is on May 2010. So they're doing 2 movies at once here.
So we're going to get to see these. Quetzalcoatl's not going to fuck it up for us.
Captain America, the Avengers movie will be in July 2011, and Captain America is in May 2011. So it's going to be like Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, Avengers in 2010, 2011. So I don't know what's in 2009. Nothing, I guess. I don't know.
Huh?
Yeah.
I could be excited about that.
I'm only excited about the Thor. Fuck all the other ones.
Yeah, well, Thor is the only thing I care about.
Yeah, fuck all these other movies.
So speaking of things that may or may not be made, pretty much ever since Azuma was a huge success, the manga and the anime, Yotsuba has been like one of the best manga out there.
Yotsuba is also one of the biggest selling manga outside of the Narutos and things.
And it's fantastic. I don't need to tell you it's fantastic. I don't need to tell you should be reading it. But what everyone's been saying, every anime fan, pretty much since they first saw Yotsuba was, when's there going to be an anime? When's there going to be an anime? When's there going to be an anime? And there's always rumors about, there's going to be an anime. Oh, no, there isn't. Oh, there is, and it's going to be directed by Mamoru Oshii's mom.
Yeah, right. Yes, it's going to be a Takashi Miike live-action Yotsuba.
That could be... you know what? With that little squirt gun... if only I could draw, I would... This is homework, listeners who can draw. Draw me a bunch of 4 panels, like when Yotsuba had that squirt gun, as if Yotsuba were directed by Takashi Miike.
No, just go and take pages from Yotsuba, put that page up, and then right next to it, draw the same page directed by Takashi Miike.
I want to make this a meme. Seriously, I will.
Well, no, let's do the Takashi Miike and anything meme. Just take anything and then remix it as by Takashi Miike. Anything at all. Start with Yotsuba and then...
I smell a panel that can only be enjoyed by people who know their anime. Anyway, in the long string of stories as to why there will or will not, or when or how be a Yotsuba anime,
if you make one, there will be.
The latest news is actually kind of interesting because Azuma came out and made statements about all this finally. And he didn't make the statement I expected. He didn't say something like, yes, there's an anime. No, there's not. What he said was, the reasons you all are saying for why there is not an anime are made up crap. And he said very simply, I'm not going to quote from the article or anything, but he basically, Yotsuba would not translate well to an anime, to anything other than a comic. And he can't come up with a way to make it an anime that would keep it funny for the reasons that it's funny.
On the one hand, I can sort of see that, but on the other hand, there have been lots of things that, were sort of called untranslatable, but did really.
Yes, but
Azuma and Dial came out just fine.
But it's different when the author themselves say, yeah, not going to happen.
Well, I mean, it might not be able to happen, but just because he can't see a way to do it, I think there are people who can make it happen. I mean, I can imagine it myself,
One example he pointed out was, there's one where Yotsuba walks in and goes, hello, and everyone ignores her, and all the rest of the panels are just no one reacting, and then it ends. And he was like, okay, I could do that, but it wouldn't be as funny if it was animated.
Why not? You just put some cricket noises over it,
Yeah, I don't know. That's just what Azuma said. I can't impinge upon him.
No. The one thing about Yotsuba is that, unlike every other popular manga that came out in the US, this was actually published by ADV Manga. It was the only thing they ever published besides, I think there was one other manga they had that I liked, but no one else liked. But Yotsuba and Azuma Manga Dai were their only sort of successful manga ventures, and then now ADV is DOA, right? Well, I guess not OA because they've arrived a long time ago, but they're D. At least MIA.
But they're not MD.
No, they're MIA. And so Yotsuba is also MIA, even though it was wickedly popular and made lots of money. But ADV kind of owns it, doesn't own it. What's going on? We're waiting for all these volumes. There's a bunch of volumes out in Japan, but they're not out in English only because ADV sucks. If Viz had licensed this, we'd probably have every volume already. If Dark Horse had licensed it, we'd have every volume already. It's only because ADV licensed it that everyone in the US has to suffer, even though this thing was very popular and profitable. So the other manga companies, somebody got to snatch this shit up. And I can't imagine that they don't realize that this is going on. It's just, I imagine it's a difficult situation, and someone's got to no one has, I guess, the motivation to work it out. Except for the fans.
What's interesting is that some of these rumors are crazy. Some people were saying there's no anime because him and some director had a falling out, or
what?
That he doesn't get along with Tomoko Kaneda, who was the voice of Chio-chan.
But did these people know? How do you know these? How do you come up with that?
You know what? It's real easy. If I want to spread a rumor, right? All right.
I'll make some shit up and type it in.
I'll go to a forum somewhere, and I'll just be like, yeah, so I heard Mamoru Oshii is working with Osamu Tezuka to make a live-action
Tezuka's dead
Evangelion spin-off called...
But I mean, if someone goes in a forum and says that, the next post is, how could you possibly know that?
No, it
guy
isn't.
In a forum.
The next post is OMG. And then the next post is LOL, butts. I mean, it's the internet. What do you want? So I guess it's time for things of the day. I thought that I had seen every possible funny thing on the internet involving a Leonidas face. You know what I'm talking about? That very specific set of faces of King Leonidas that so perfectly encapsulates everything that I think is funny on the internet. Much like that face, the yellow face looking up like, eh?
Wasn't there a really good Leonidas Aurelie?
Yes.
All right.
There's a good Leonidas everything. but I thought I'd seen them all. Like, I really did. I thought that there was no one who was going to make one that was new enough or funny enough or different enough to make me go, oh, wow, I didn't expect that. I must have missed one. So here we go. What would you do with a drunken Spartan? I don't know, you might have all already seen this. I don't know what you kids watch on the internet, but this was unexpectedly funny. And the fact that it's so long just makes it funnier. I don't know what I can say other than that there are about 3 or 4 points in this where the Leonidas face just does something. Usually it's like there's one Leonidas face singing, and there's another one like in frame not doing anything, and then suddenly that one will do something and I'll lose it.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right, so I'm listening to Anime World Orders, right? And in passing, Daryl Surratt sort of mentions some video game, like an old video game that no one's ever heard of called Metal Wolf Chaos, right?
Wolf, Metal Gear.
He basically just says Metal Wolf Chaos something something. Everyone loves Metal Wolf Chaos, blah, 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 the end, right?
That's a very Daryl Surratt statement
so
right there.
I go and I ask him, yo, what's that wolf thing? He's like, what wolf thing? I'm like, you said there's some video game. He's like, oh yeah, Metal Wolf Chaos, because I didn't remember the name, right? So he's like, yeah, it was this game that was an Xbox One game. Not an Xbox, that was Japan only. Yet, the entire game, voice acting and text, was in 100% English. Weird, huh? And the game was only ever released in Japan.
Now that
for the Xbox One, which is not
even
popular
weirder
in Japan.
Yeah, the Xbox didn't do well in
and
Japan.
it was made by the same developers that made what's it called? Armored Core and Chrome Hounds and those games, right? From whatever.
Actually, sorry, I'm thinking of something else. Go on.
Yeah. So there's a game called like Metal Wolf Chaos. It's like this sort of unheard of game, at least, by normal people. So it's pretty obscure.
OneUp.com found out about it recently, actually.
Really?
And they actually named it the, quote, most insanely patriotic game ever made.
All right. I don't really want to give away what the game's about.
I know.
That ruins all the humor of it.
I want to, because I want to say funny things about it. But at the same time, you need to experience this video the way Scott, Emily, and I experienced it.
Yeah.
Because
just watch the whole thing, because even if it's not funny, they watch the whole thing. Don't stop at any point.
It escalates.
Yeah.
And every time you think you saw the funny bit, it continues to escalate.
The thing is that when I was a kid, I had this Choose Your Own Adventure book, but it wasn't actually a Choose Your Own Adventure book. It was a TSR-produced Choose Your Own Adventure book, and it was almost exactly the same as story as this. I'm
going to say one thing. According to Wikipedia, people who have played the game or looked at the game notice the relative eye level that the main character has. I'm not going to spoil who the main character is in relation to everyone else. And he must be 11 feet tall. Which kind of works.
It totally makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
This game is fantastic. I don't know if it's actually good, but it's fantastic.
No, it's a third-person action shooter. It is what it is. But watching it on YouTube, you're going to get what it's worth. And if you wanted to, you could probably easily go and download the game on some torrents and then burn it to a CD or DVD or whatever and put it in your Xbox or something like that, and it would work.
Yeah, the internet is...
Or I don't know if you have to mod an Xbox. I don't know how that shit works.
I don't know.
But it's definitely possible in some way.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. The Xbox modding was huge, right? People installed all sorts of crazy shit on there.
I don't know if Daryl Surratt is the cause of the resurgence or if he found out about it because of the resurgence, but...
Well, he said that, there was a panel at a convention he did recently where he was trying to do an anime and video game panel, where he showed anime-based video games that were good, but he just whipped this out, because it's so great, even if it's not anime.
Well, the thing is, I'm looking around now and I'm finding a lot of very recent references to it where there were no references before.
Well, get it while it's hot, people. Metal Wolf Chaos.
So we had the privilege, actually,
the torrents will be rocking right now,
last weekend, of seeing the New York premiere. I don't know if it was the American premiere, but it was definitely the New York premiere of Mamoru Oshii's new movie, Skycrawlers.
New animated movie.
Yes. Well, I think it's the newest movie he made.
Possibly.
I'll check that, but Skycrawlers.
Yep. It was a Mamoru Oshii animated movie. Just like Ghost in the Shell or Beautiful Dreamer or the Pat Labor movies. 2+ something hours long, crazy high quality animation.
Oh my god, we're gonna review it, but we're not going to spoil it.
If you've seen a Mamoru Oshii, I mean, usually it seems like these days, like, directors and just artists in general sort of like trying to get away from their shticks,
Well,
Mamoru
it depends.
Oshii, he doesn't go away from his shtick. I mean, like, you showed me this movie, I could have been like, oh, and you said, who's the director? Like, 10 minutes in, I would have been like, oh, it's Oshii. I know.
Yep. Now,
as soon as you see, like, the freaking dog, you're like, oh,
if I'd
yeah.
only seen the first, 15 minutes, and I knew the plot, but I hadn't seen the rest, I might have guessed that maybe Shiro wrote it or something, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough call on that kind of
But
thing.
it's definitely Oshii all the way. The one thing I noticed is that we went with a whole bunch of people.
But see, that's the thing, is as soon as when you think Shiro in an anime, you go to Oshii because, he directed the Ghost in the Shell 1 and 2 and such. So it's like, it makes perfect sense.
But no, Shiro had nothing to do with this at all. This is all Oshii, adapted from a novel. But,
yeah, what was the novel? I forget.
Oh, the novel, I'll get to that. I'll get to the whole history of what this is and where it came from. But we went with a whole bunch of people. Like, we ran into Uncle Yo and a whole bunch of people. I love living in New York at this showing. Like, we didn't coordinate this. It seems like every time there's an anime screening, like a big one in New York City, if we go, we see like the same posse of people there every time.
I definitely saw a lot of people there that were also at the Satoshi Kon thing.
And the cool thing was
it was at
that
the same exact theater, so...
Oshii actually recorded a little short, like a 3-minute video of himself, really shabby looking in front of a wall.
Yeah, it's like this is worse than a YouTube, basically. It's like you think a guy with all this, like movie making skill would make a better video of himself. It's like he was like wearing like a ratty white tee. He looked like some nasty otaku, basically. And he's sitting in front of this camera real close to his
But
face.
see, in that way, it had heart. It was like he's sitting down with you like, look, I sent this movie over to you Americans.
He's like, thanks for coming to the New York premiere. This is my movie. It's about this. It's also about this. And it's also about this. Please stay until the end. That guy got a lot of laughs because, his movies are long. And so it's sort of like we thought he was saying, please stay until the end because maybe it's long and you'll get bored and you'll leave early.
It's over 2 hours long.
Yeah. But actually he was saying stay until the very end after the credits because there's more.
Yeah, there is more. We made a critical
the thing is,
error.
We didn't really need to see it because it's sort of it's one of those things where after the credits they show you something. Now in some movies after the credits what they show you is like game changing.
Yeah, it's not like Alien 9. Remember Alien 9?
Where the whole show was in the credits?
Where the credits are like, oh, by the way, here's what happened to everyone, and oh look, we killed a bunch of people at the end.
In the credits, the final credits, the last episode.
I remember Gabby screaming from the other room.
Yeah, no, but what happens after the credits in this movie is basically a visual confirmation of things you already know. So if you were paying attention to the movie itself.
Now,
so it's not too bad that we missed it.
One thing I noticed, and
it's actually good that we missed it because we probably wouldn't have made the trade.
I would recommend that any anime fan see this movie, but very specifically, if there is any way for you to see it in a theater, see it in a theater. Because
normally, obviously movies in the theater are far superior, right? But I'm usually not too anal about it. It's like, yeah,
it depends on the
I know
movie.
the theater's better. You get the big screen and the better sound. But really, if I watch 90% of movies, if you watch them in your home on a DVD player, it's good enough.
Well, I mean, it depends on...
VHS isn't good enough, but a DVD with some speakers is good enough.
Well, it depends. I mean, is it a movie of people talking to each other? Is it a movie of people shooting at each other?
But I mean,
stuff
I'm
blowing
still,
up?
while I'd rather watch Star Wars in a theater, I can watch Star Wars on a DVD like 100 times.
But it doesn't have the same effect. The one time I went and saw all those Star Wars movies in the theater, it was a different experience.
It was, but
this movie, like, the theater makes it because...
And the thing is, the theater we saw it in wasn't even like a really fancy digital theater with wicked sound. It was sort of like it's like an auditorium at the Juilliard, the school. So it's like it's not that awesome a theater. It's not
well,
like
it is screen wise because I've been to local theaters lately, and the screen itself, how big it is relative to where the seats are, is fantastic.
It's all right, but it's not like going to an IMAX or even like you go to like the Lowe's super digital theater with the stadium seating is and is a lot better than this screen. But it's not a bad screen. It's just not a super screen is what I'm saying.
But Skycrawlers seeing it in the theater would be a completely different experience because this movie is the first animated. This movie has
That I
set
know of.
a new standard for prop plane dogfights.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of anime with airplanes. Shit tons.
Porco Rosso.
You got, and not just, jet fighters and prop planes. I mean, you got, all those Miyazakis with airplanes in them.
Area 88, The Blue Skies of
Last
Betrayal.
Exile. The list goes on and on and on. Planes in flight are huge in the anime. But
This movie took it to a level, it's well over 9,000.
in the CG era, right, with surround sound, full length, in movie theater theatrical anime, right? There hasn't really been a big one with the planes. I mean, I guess Steam Boy had a bit of flight in it, kind of a little bit, not so much. Right? I mean, what else really has there been recently in the theaters? I guess was what was the one by Makoto Shinkai?
Oh yeah. I could look it up.
And like one plane, right? With the big tower, the one that you like.
Oh yeah. Place Promised in Early Days.
Yeah, Place Promised had one plane. That was sort of a anime movie, but this is the first anime movie that I can think of in like the CG era to go full on with the planes, with the sound, with the CG, with everything.
It did the blurry, shaky cam, super awesome choreographed dogfights, and because they were
like
planes,
Macross Zero, Macross Plus, you got nothing on this shit. All right, he basically said, you know what? Every anime has done planes. If I do planes, I have to show everyone up times a million, and he did.
And I think it really helps that they're prop planes because you get all those like S-turns and maneuvers that don't really, like modern fighter jets don't really dogfight so much as shoot missiles at enemies who are over the horizon.
Yeah, pretty much.
But oh my God, like if nothing else, even if you hate this movie and you hate, 2-hour-long introspective, philosophical, atmospheric movies, watch this movie for the dogfights.
Yeah, it's like, this is one of those movies where it's like sometimes you get something that's, real intellectual and deep and slow, and most people will be bored by it, but, cool people will love it or whatever, or pretentious people will love it, depending, right? But this is one of those ones that can be enjoyed on multiple levels, which is really what you want to go for, right? He's got this deep message going on that comes across really well. He's got, like this great character development thing. It's got this ongoing plot. It's got a sci-fi plot. But on the surface level, he's got this fucking action. Just there you go. If you don't get all that shit and don't care about it, you will still love this movie for the fucking airplanes that are really loud with lots of explosions.
However, do not forget that is a Mamoru Oshii movie because I think a lot of our friends who came with us, a lot of people didn't really like it when we got out of the theater. And
yeah, I mean, it's not the greatest movie ever, but it's a good movie. I liked it.
I thought it was great.
It's all good. Yeah.
It's in my top 100.
Yeah, definitely.
It's easy to get into my top 100. It's definitely in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be in the top 50, but maybe not.
I don't know. I have to start counting.
Yeah, I'd have to count at that point.
But it's a pretty. It's pretty good. It's like 7 or 8 stars out of 10.
If you're an anime fan, first off, it's not like there's that many anime movies you get to see that are new.
That's
in
for
America.
Sure.
So any anime
Of course,
movie,
I don't know if anyone's going to get to see this in the theater in America besides us.
Yeah, maybe out on the West Coast, but
yeah,
this movie, I get after the movie, what a lot of people said who didn't like it was that was really long. That was really repetitive. The character development was weird. It was all atmosphere and no plot. And to which I said, yeah, it was directed by Mamoru Oshii.
It's like, have you not seen his movies before? They're all exactly like this.
I went in expecting this, and I got exactly what I wanted, and I was very pleased with the result.
Lots of quiet scenes, lots of scenes where you watch characters like performing everyday actions in like real time, quietly and slowly.
Now, granted, it's not to the level of the cats on the train in space, where I get to see him slowly walk to a door, slowly open the door, walk through the door, turn around, slowly close the door, turn around, walk away.
Quiet you. I like my quiet in space.
I know, but that movie took it too far.
That's about as much
Though I have this,
quiet in space as you can get.
I have this evil idea to take Odin and any scene,
cut it together with Not in the Galactic Railroad.
Any scene that just shows space or like an atmosphere scene, extend and copy paste, and make it 5 hours long secretly, and then run the who can watch this movie to the end contest late at night at a con.
with the special elongated cut of Odin.
I'll call it the director's cut.
It's the elongated rim cut.
The unabridged version.
Yeah.
I'll cut in some MD Geist. Doesn't matter.
Just throw in some random shit towards the end.
I'll take
when
all
people are
of,
losing it.
I'll just take all of MD Geist and stick it in at the end, like before that.
Right before the credits, just paste MD
like
Geist.
they get near the end, they find MD Geist, and then it's just MD Geist from there.
That's most dangerous.
But anyway, the movie, I guess part of the reason it seems like people had a problem with it, though, was that being an Oshii movie, the form and structure of the film, like the way it is put together, and the fact that it's repetitive, and the fact that characters don't really develop, is critical to the message. It's like if the movie were shorter, or more like cut more finely, or had fewer of these atmosphere scenes, or had closure, not to spoil it, but had closure that was expected, then it would have kind of betrayed what Oshii was saying. In a big way.
I mean, and I'll tell you, because this isn't a spoiler, because Oshii told it to us, indirectly before the movie started, but he said the movie is about, people who don't grow up, and it's about, whether living a life of daily routine is worthwhile and such now, right? So if you want to have this message of daily routine, you need to actually, in the movie, like, show routine and repetition and to deliver that. And that necessarily, at least, if you're Mamoru Oshii, makes the movie sort of long and has lots of repeating things and routines that you get used to. And then when the routines break, that's when the movie goes, oh my God, it's typical, narrative technique there,
But then one of the big points was that even when the routines break, also not a spoiler, because believe me, you can watch this movie. We're not going to say anything where you're going to go, oh no, I can't watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But, even when routines break, did they really break?
Yeah, I mean, I walk the same road to work every day. Well, I'll walk on the other side of it this time, or I'll look in a different direction this time.
And it talks, I mean, a lot of what we're thinking, it's not just routines and how they affect people, but the idea of immortality or aging or being in a rut in your life or anything like that. I mean, if one day is no different than the next, if you live Wednesday the same as Tuesday, the same as Monday, then are you really living 3 separate days, or was your life turning into just one big day?
Mm-hmm.
One day where nothing new happens.
Right. So I think I'll give you a tiny, non-spoilery plot summary, right?
Yes. Well, I mean, it was based on a novel written by Hiroshi Mori. Actually, it's a set of 5 novels.
Oh, shit. Well, in Japan, they always break the novels up into little volumes that we get the little ones. Or,
Yeah.
But basically,
apparently, though, this series is a deviation from his usual works in a big way.
Really?
Yes, apparently he writes mystery novels.
Oh, I'd like to see. I wish that more Japanese books were translated to English, and they kept him in that same tiny format, and the same prices and whatever.
Oh yeah, he's a writer and an engineer who's famous for writing mystery novels in Japan.
Oh, I'd like to get me some of that.
And then out of the blue, he wrote this stuff.
Sweet. All right. Basically, the story you have here is there's a guy, and he goes to work on.
Oh, okay. I got to go one step further with this guy. He writes a very specific kind of mystery story. He calls them Rikkei mysteries, science mysteries,
Ooh,
math mysteries. Oh man. Apparently,
maybe I should go buy that stupid Rosetta.
His
thing
most
and
famous
learn
work,
Japanese.
The Perfect Insider, is quote often criticized for its overuse of computer jargon.
No!
He responded by saying that it's perfectly natural for people with a background of knowledge and technology to better understand others.
Yeah.
Yeah, jargon.
Anyway, so the movie.
It's no different. He even, oh man, I found in all these links, he talks about how using computer jargon in a book with computers is no different than using fantasy jargon in a book about fantasy. It's just proper nouns.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so the movie. It's about a guy who goes to work at, basically a military base, but it's a military base that just has a few planes. It's like a little Air Force base, tiny one. They got a hangar, they got a little building with some, rooms to sleep in, and a couple offices, and a little eating room, and whatever, right?
Yep.
And he works for some company, and there's some people at the base. There's the lady who fixes the planes, there's the other pilots, there's the commander lady.
Yeah, there's obviously a whole command structure, but at the beginning of the movie, you get the impression that there's some sort of war going on, and that this company is a part of it in some way, and they're either in providing the technology or it's not made clear immediately, and it is made crystal clear by the end of the movie. What's going
Definitely,
on.
yeah. So they, he gets there, and you meet these characters, and all the characters, are sort of have mysteries about them. Just, they say very little. They're acting strangely. There are things that are weird and are not fully explained. And you don't even know why they're fighting or what happened before this or anything like that.
The movie really feels like a dream, which is also, remember, Oshii also did Beautiful Dreamer, which was about dreams directly.
Yeah.
And it had the same kind of, it's dreamlike, scenes flow into each other like there's really no beginning or end. It kind of starts in media res and ends in media res.
Yep. So they go on they go on missions, and they fight, and they do recon and stuff like that. And, they do things when they're, it also shows you what they're doing when they're not going on missions, going to the diner, eating a meat pie, getting some hose, that sort of, things that pilots do.
I actually really like the two prostitute characters.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're actually some of the better characters.
Yes.
Less boring.
But that's very important to what he was saying.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and then, basically the movie just consists of, time going by day, things that happen, and slowly things are revealed. And as things are revealed and the characters learn more about each other and about, things that are going on, situations evolve as such. And then you have a movie, and, by the end, you learn everything you need to learn. And it's what you do learn is pretty crazy. The only thing that I had to say about it, though, is that there was the scene where they went to the diner for the first time, and then afterwards they got in the car, and he was like, "How was the meat pie?" And at that moment, I knew everything I knew the whole movie. I already figured it out. It was solved.
See, I figured it out a bit before that. Well, everyone can say the scene where they figured it out.
It's like if you pay attention, you can figure the whole movie out.
But at the same time, you're not going to figure out all the things Oshii's trying to say because he makes a lot of points.
Yeah, he makes it's like he has like 2 or 3 big things to say, and then he's got a lot of little things to say throughout, So it's like you can get the big plot thing is pretty obvious. You can get real close to it or close enough to where it doesn't matter that you're not right on target. But, you still watch the rest of the movie and all the little stuff, And I guess if you're not smart, you won't figure it out until the end, and you'll go, oh, shit.
Plus, the movie, I don't know. I thought this movie was
also,
fantastic.
The teacher.
Oh my God, the teacher.
I think the teacher might be my favorite. Of course, that thing on the side of his plane kept reminding me of the Thundercats.
Though, I want to point out something interesting here because the movie was directed by Oshii, but the screenplay was written by someone named Chihiro Ito. Chihiro Ito is known for one other anime, a very important anime. You see, he did the key animation for Perverse Investigations.
Yeah, key animation, big deal.
Perverse Investigations also has the alternate title Sex Judge.
Uh-huh.
It's the only 2 things he's done, unless
I'm sure he's done something else if they let him write a screenplay.
Yeah, I don't know. At least he's done nothing else.
Is it the same person?
Unless, see, I'm basing this entirely on the Anime News Network encyclopedia.
Yeah, he's probably done a lot of live action or something like that, and it might even be a different person who did that key anime. You don't know.
It is possible, but I was surprised to find that when I was clicking on the links of all the people.
Yeah,
that is
pretty funny. It's pretty funny. We have to go get I bet, we don't own any hentais. I'm not really a big fan of the hentais, even though if you like them, that's your deal.
Well,
right?
I can say this. I have somewhere, it's found one of those hard drives, a downloaded copy of the first episode of Elven Bride.
Great. Elven Bride is a comedy, though. It's not a...
Well, it's a sexy comedy.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a sexy comedy and... which is intended for humor but happens to be sexy, and something that is intended for, titillation, yet is viewed comedically.
It's funny you say titillation because I think that was intended at least a little bit.
Yeah, of course. But I think if we're gonna
on his quest to get the harpy ooze,
if we're gonna go and get some, hentai for comedic purposes, Sex Judge sounds like a pretty good one to go for. Just based on the title alone.
Sex Judge sounds like something Dave and Joel should review.
It just sounds so funny. Like
I imagine it's not that funny.
Maybe not.
I imagine it's
the name, I can imagine it being really hilarious based on the name.
Oh, there isn't even a description here.
Oh,
it's voted. One person said it was very good.
Really?
Only one person said it was awful.
That person is the sex defendant. The one person who said it was awful was the sex plaintiff. Right.
51 people on the Animators Network have seen it.
Wow. That said too many.
But anyway, this movie, one thing I want to say is that, we talked about how you should see it in the theater and it's beautiful, but I can't stress enough. This movie is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful.
It's a production IG 2008 movie. What do you expect? I guess sometimes the anime studios that have the big skills and the big monies, put out something that's lower quality to save money and because they don't care. But yeah, they put it all into this one. It's like, it's just got the, it's the same people who worked on like Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence. That's the kind of high quality, amazing animation you're looking at.
Now,
only
supposedly,
newer than that even.
The author of the book, because this was such a big departure from his other stuff, he said that it would have been, of any work he's written, it would have been the most difficult to adapt to screen.
Wow.
And he never wanted anyone to make a
including
movie.
his computer jargon mysteries?
I guess. But the only reason he gave consent to have this movie made was because he found out that Oshii wanted to direct it.
Oh.
Which makes sense because for what the movie is, only Oshii could have done this, as far as I know.
If it wasn't like, I couldn't imagine like taking this plot and having it being done by like anyone else, really. It just wouldn't, I just wouldn't see it working. Like, I try to imagine this, the base, I take the core plot of what this movie is, and I think of it as directed by, say like Takashi Miike, no, it wouldn't work.
Well, I mean, this
directed by, Anno, no, that wouldn't work. The Niche, no, it wouldn't work.
This is a movie, however,
directed by Miyazaki, wouldn't work.
Where the characters for most of the movie, most of the characters do not have any character development at all. And yet,
instead of doing the character development thing, it's the character revelation where they're already developed, but you don't know them, and then you learn them.
Well, yes, but what I want to say is that in many movies where this would be a flaw, Oshii, what he has done is made that like one of the strongest points of the movie. Like the movie wouldn't work any other way. I mean, I'm trying to talk about everything very circuitously because I don't want to spoil it. This movie is fantastic.
Yeah, because this is like, I'd like to, discuss the movie in full, but nobody has seen it. So it's like, yeah.
We will.
Sort of anyone who is pretty much, I guarantee, probably 100% of the listeners, except, I don't know, maybe Emily.
You know what?
Is going to be spoiled if we say so.
You know what I'm going to do? I'll ask some of our friends at Otakon, because this is the kind of thing they should show in that 35mm room.
Man, we should have. Oh, that's a good idea. 35mm Otakon sky crawlers.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Oh, we got to make that happen.
I'm going to lean on anyone I can lean on to make that happen.
That's got to happen. That's the way to go.
Well, we've got some special things in store for Otakon possibly next year, but I'm gonna see if that can be part of it.
We're gonna try to make that happen so hard.
Oh my God, am I? Emails are going out tonight.
That's right.
But anyway, one other interesting thing. The people who made the Ace Combat series of games.
Oh, which is basically, for people who don't know, Katsu really likes those. If you're a fanboy about fighter jets fighting each other,
these are your games.
Ace Combat is like this long-running series of games in Japan and I guess also the US.
Yes.
For PS2, Xbox 360, etc.
They are making the Skycrawlers game for the Wii.
Oh, for the Wii?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Honestly.
Seriously? Honestly?
It's going to be called Skycrawlers Innocent Aces. And
oh, that's right on target there.
Okay, I gotta find out what's going on.
Is the
because-
head boss the teacher?
No, this website says it's going to be released in October of 2008. So
Well, maybe it's out.
in Japan, I'll look into that because I want to play that game possibly.
Yeah, well, you're gonna need a Japanese Wii.
Yeah, can I mod your Wii?
You can buy another Wii and mod it.
But I don't want to say any more without. I mean, eventually, I do want to do a final thoughts, like a full review.
If the movie gets released on DVD in the US, then we'll do a thing.
Yes, because, and in fact,
I'm
more
sure
and
it will
more,
be eventually, right? It's a Sony Classics, and they put out Paprika on
I want
DVD.
to-
So why wouldn't they put out Skycrawls
I
on
do
DVD?
want to start suggesting to people, kind of like we have the Geeknights book club that's going pretty well. I want to warn people and then eventually do full reviews of anime movies because there aren't that many that are widely seen in the US, and reviewing a movie is difficult without spoiling it other than doing what we did now. I mean, the review, it's great, go see it. However, if you're not smart or if you don't like very long atmospheric movies, then you won't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, but this movie will probably be on DVD within 12 months. I pretty much can guarantee that. So,
But if you get a chance to see this movie in the theater, do not pass that up.
yeah, definitely.
Seriously.
Just for like the planes alone. And they even in the middle of the movie, they put like the biggest plane fight ever just to have it.
When that bomber blows up, while it's trying
so
to
big.
it's trying to drop its bombs, and then it blows up, and then all the bombs blow up, and then it blows up so big it blows up the other bomber flying below it.
That says they just it was good because most of the fights in the movie, air fights, are like a few planes and a few planes, and in the middle of the movie, they're like, you know what? A million planes and a million planes.
Yep.
It's
Also, one thing I should point out.
It's so strange that a movie that has a partially anti-otaku message, right, in a way, is also has very much otaku appeal at the
But
same
then again,
time.
trick him into watching, make him feel bad, like Ava.
Maybe.
Ava tricked people into watching, and then the movie made them feel bad.
I guess it's like if I made a romantic comedy and then the moral was anyone who likes romantic comedies is stupid.
But one thing I really should point out, a good portion of this movie is in English,
Oh yeah,
which is fine. That's not what I want to talk about. But
I forgot about that.
there's this one point where they walk into that diner, and it's the same background animation because the same people are there talking, but this time it's really quiet, and this one guy with a really big head and a really big mouth is saying something very quietly, but just because there was nothing else and because it was a theater and the volume was real high, we all heard what the guy said in the background. I'm not going to say what he said. Watch for it. Listen to what he says.
I heard it.
And I defy you to not crack up hysterically.
I didn't crack up hysterically, but I was like, huh?
He says it, and well, I wouldn't have cracked up if not for the fact that I
But
looked at
I
Emily.
did find it interesting though that you talked about that after we left the theater, and I very much noticed it. It's you watch a big long movie like this. I've only seen it once in a theater. You don't remember every little detail, but that was a very small detail that I remembered I distinctly remembered it, and the fact that Rim brought it up and was so enthusiastic about it was like, wow.
And it wasn't just me. The reason I laughed was I was like, and I turned to the left and I look at Emily, and she's simultaneously turned to look at me, and we both meet eyes and realize we're looking at each other about the same thing.
Yeah.
And then we lost it.
It's like everyone noticed this one little thing that was like it didn't even need to be in the movie. It meant nothing for the movie at all.
I could not even stretch a meaning to place into the
No,
movie.
it's basically just noise, effectively.
2 weeks of bread and water. Oh my god! Plus, notable scenes. I mean, of course, all the dog fights. Much like how Spider-Man had the upside down kiss, this movie has the kissing along with guns.
Yep, and also that's right after the great series of scenes in the city.
Oh my god, the bowling alley.
Yeah, the bowling alley was great.
That was fantastic.
The bowling alley was awesome.
This movie is really, really, really
The
good.
diner was also pretty great. Like there are like 3 or 4 diner scenes.
I can't recommend this movie enough. If you're an anime fan, there's no reason
Well,
not
I
to see
could
it.
recommend it enough. It's not like the greatest thing ever, but it's great. You definitely want to check this out.
Well, I think you should see it anyway because it's good enough to where even if it's not one of the greatest works ever made, anyone who calls himself an anime fan should have seen it. There aren't that many anime movies you can see.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Put it up there.
I really enjoyed it, and now I'm going to bed because it's Tuesday, Mr. Illusion Breaker.
Good, I don't have to go and make a post.
Yeah, but you'll have to make it tomorrow.
That's fine. If I don't have to do anything else tomorrow, it'll take like 2 seconds.
All right, we're done. This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via audio. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.